When it comes to CDM, the roles and the duties within CDM can get a bit messy, and sometimes some of these construction projects can get really, really complex. So today we are going to summarize the client. Let's jump into the intro and we'll talk about the client. What's up peeps, welcome back to Rebranding Safety. Rebranding Safety is the YouTube channel and podcast doing exactly what it says on the tin. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the bell and all of that stuff so you never miss another episode, blah, blah, blah. Rebranding Safety is brought to you by Riskfluent. Riskfluent is the company that sits behind Rebranding Safety, and we offer technical health and safety services, which is your normal health and safety consultancy, from training to fire risk assessments to retained partnerships. We also offer transformational services like human performance and behavioural change, or maybe it's the cultural evolution you're looking for. Give us a call if you're looking for any support when it comes to health, safety or culture within your workplace. Everything you need to know is on riskfluentlimited.com. That's enough of the self-promotion, let's get into the client. The client within CDM pretty much has the overall duty. They have the overall duty to ensure that essentially there's adequate arrangements for managing the project generally, adequate arrangements for the risk management within that, allocation of suitable time and resources within the project as well. They also have the duty to make sure that everyone is kind of competent. The principal designers or designers, the contractors, the principal contractors, you know, whoever they've recruited in, and make sure that those people are competent. They have the suitable organizational capacity as well to deliver the project. So a client within the realms of CDM is actually a really big role. So let's break a lot of this down then to the more specific requirements. Pre-construction information then. The client must provide adequate pre-construction information to the contractor. The principal designer can assist the client in this process where there is a principal designer in the process. Pre-construction information will basically be any risks within the site that contractor needs to be aware of. So things like an asbestos register. It would also be where the mains incomings are, where gases are, where underground services, overhead services and things like that. Traffic management. Everything about the site that the contractor will need to know to be on site safely and do their job safely. The client has a duty to take reasonable steps to make sure that the contractor is competent and capable to do the job that you require them to do. Where there's going to be more than one contractor within the project, you need to really early on in the process, formally, e.g. in writing, appoint a principal director and then subsequently a principal contractor. Where work is notifiable, and if you don't know what that is, go check out our video on what is notifiable within CDM. Where the work is notifiable, the client will be required to report that to the HSE. The client has duty to make sure that work does not start until there are suitable welfare facilities on site. The client has a duty to make sure that work doesn't start until the construction phase plan is in place as well. The client has a duty to make sure that where the project is notifiable, that notification is displayed at a central point that everyone can access during the project. The client will have a duty to make sure that everyone through the process, the principal designers, the principal contractors, are carrying out their duties, and to make sure that they're hitting the milestones that you have set early on as part of the group in the planning stage of the process. And then finally, the client has a duty where there is more than one contractor to maintain the health and safety file. And then also when that job is finished, you will have a duty to pass on that health and safety file when someone else acquires your building. Let's define the difference for a domestic project then. So for a domestic project, so simply these are, I want to get an extension on the side of my house, I am the client, and then I go to a contractor, the contractor comes in and they build it. I would pass my CDM duties onto that contractor. I still have a bit of a duty to make sure that they have all the information they need, and I also need to make sure that they are competent to do what they say they're going to do and what I want them to do. If you have more than one contractor on a site, that contractor that you've initially engaged with becomes the principal contractor, and they would then manage the subcontractors. The architect or the designer that they would recruit in that would become the designer, and if there are multiple designers within that process, they would become the principal designer. The principal designer can take on the client duties instead of the contractor, and if that does happen, it needs to be in writing, just to make sure that everyone's really clear on what their duties are. So in summary, the client pretty much has the overall duty to make sure that everyone is doing their job properly, everyone is competent to do their job, and all the records are in place. They can be assisted by the principal designer, principal contractor, but ultimately they are responsible for everything that happens below them. They need to make sure that everyone is competent and everyone is doing what they're supposed to do. And the easy way to do this is to focus on not just ticking the boxes, but actually stress testing, actually having conversations with the people that you get in to quote the work. Make sure they know what they're talking about. Make sure that the paperwork they send over you just isn't some generic bullshit from the last project that they did that's slightly similar to yours. To actually test it, to actually ask questions, and to spot those red flags like generic risk assessments, generic construction phase plans, references to livestock when it's not applicable to your site, and so on and so forth. Remember, as a client though, you have a lot of duties within CDM, and it's really, really important to make sure you're managing them. Okay peeps, hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you understand the role of the client a little bit more within the context of CDM. If you need some help with this stuff, then go to riskfluentlimited.com. Website will be in the description below. This is something that we can help you with, definitely. And if you want to have a chat with me, you can email me, james@riskfluentlimited.com. Otherwise, I shall see you next week. Safe.